Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're cracking open the ultimate builder's toolbox. But instead of hammers and wrenches, we're equipping you with the foundational tools to absolutely master organization and structure in your writing. Whether you're a novice trying to boost your clarity or a seasoned writer looking to really hone that craft, this Explainer is going to give you the heavy power tools you need to confidently tackle literally any writing project.
Let's kick things off with a quick question. What makes a microwave oven work? It sounds like such a simple, everyday object, right? But try explaining it clearly, say to a 7-year-old, and suddenly you realize just how incredibly difficult it can be to break down a complex concept into easily digestible pieces. And honestly, that is exactly why we need a structured approach to sharing information.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The Technical Writer's Toolkit, 2. Defining and describing, 3. Connecting the dots, 4. The art of persuasion, and 5. Patterns of organization.
Section 1. The Technical Writer's Toolbox. We are laying the foundation.
First things first, we need to know what we're actually building with here. What exactly is an information structure? Well, it's a type of information content, like a description, or a way of organizing information, like a comparison, or, a blend of both. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, okay, so what? The absolutely crucial point here is that these aren't just dry, dusty academic terms. These structures are the heavy power tools required to totally cure writer's block. Knowing them gives you the intellectual framework to rapidly organize practically any project.
Moving right along to Section 2, Defining and Describing, the Foundational Tools.
Think about a completely ordinary object, like a ballpoint pen. What's really fascinating is how you can describe it in 2 totally different ways. You could organize it part by part. Detailing the barrel, the ink cartridge, the tip mechanism, the grip. This is absolutely perfect for something like a repair manual, where the user actually needs to know how the physical pieces fit together. Or, on the flip side, you can use a characteristic by characteristic approach. That means focusing on its durability, writing performance, comfort, and portability. You'd use that for a buyer's guide, where the leader is trying to figure out if the pen fits their lifestyle. It all comes down to what your reader is actually trying to achieve.
Another absolute must-have tool is classification. Take anemias, for example. You've got your classes, blood loss, iron deficiency, and pernicious. But the real secret sauce is the principle of classification. In this case, it's the main cause of the anemia. It's literally like sorting a massive jar of marbles. You have to use a single guiding principle to avoid total chaos. You wouldn't try to sort those marbles by both color and size at the exact same time, right? That same rigorous logic has to apply to organizing your writing.
Section 3. Connecting the dots, comparisons, processes, and causes.
Let's talk comparisons. You generally have 2 ways to do this, whole to whole and point by point. In whole to whole, you detail literally everything about option A and then everything about option B. But in point by point, you compare them together by, say, cost and then maybe by ease of use. So, which one is better? Well, imagine your boss needs to pick out a new smartphone. The point-by-point method is far, far superior. The whole-to-whole method kind of sloppily leaves your boss doing all the mental heavy lifting themselves. Point-by-point guides them right to the answer in a highly organized way.
Now, here is something people mix up all the time, confusing a process discussion with a causal discussion. Let's clear that up right now. A process discussion tells you how cool air is produced step by step by conventional systems. A causal discussion, on the other hand, tells you why your air conditioning is costing you so much more money this summer. Process is all about the chronological steps of an event. Causal is about the reasons and effects behind those events. It's a subtle distinction, but trust me, it's a game changer.
Let's see how this actually plays out with a biological process, like mitosis. By breaking down this super complex cellular event into distinct time-segmented steps, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, interphase, it suddenly becomes incredibly easy to follow. A step usually stands for a group of related specific actions. Segmenting them like this is hands down the best way to explain how a mechanism or phenomenon actually operates.
Section 4. The art of persuasion, influencing the audience.
Picture this. You are standing in front of your city council, trying to convince them to adopt a new curbside recycling program. To really win them over, you're going to want to tap into Aristotle's classical appeals. First up, the logical appeal. That's using hard data, calculating the exact landfill savings in volume and dollars. Next, the emotional appeal. You capture their attention and spark some genuine care, maybe by mentioning dwindling natural habitats. And finally, the personal appeal. You build confidence by presenting your qualifications and citing trustworthy sources.
Logic grounds the argument, for sure, but the emotional and personal trust, that's what ensures your audience is actually willing to listen to you in the first place.
And in modern rhetoric, specifically the Tolman approach, we've got a couple more tricks up our sleeve: rebuttal and concession. A rebuttal means you are directly addressing and dismantling your opponent's counterarguments. If they say recycling is a hassle, you fire back that it's no more of a hassle than taking out the regular trash. But a concession? That's acknowledging that an opposing argument has some validity. By anticipating their objections and willingly conceding minor points, you build serious personal appeal. You come across as open-minded, deeply reasonable, and ultimately a whole lot more persuasive.
Finally, Section 5, Patterns of Organization, our architectural blueprints.
Okay, let's jump into chronological organization. And honestly, I hope you aren't watching this on an empty stomach. Chronological means organizing strictly by time. At 0 minutes, you get the water boiling for the pasta. At 5 minutes, you're mixing butter, flour, and cream for the Alfredo sauce. 10 minutes in, steam that broccoli. 15 minutes, toast the garlic bread and assemble the plate. Mapping it out along a timeline like this makes the sequence of events crystal clear for whoever is reading it.
But what if time isn't the right way to organize? Let me ask you, why should you learn French? The answer to that question perfectly sets up our next blueprint, which is the order of importance. If you know your audience is probably going to agree with you, the less important to more important pattern is incredibly effective. Just look at how this builds. We start with a fun, less vital reason, to sound cool ordering food at a fancy restaurant. Then we escalate a bit, to visit Paris. Then we get a bit more serious. It actually improves your native language skills. And finally, we end on the absolute most impactful note: it protects against Alzheimer's and keeps your brain sharp. Ending on your strongest, most undeniable point leaves a lasting impression and heavily motivates your reader.
Another phenomenal architectural blueprint is the Problem, Methods, Solution framework. Think about how Star Trek became such a massive cultural touchstone. The problem? Severe network constraints and low budgets in the 1960s. The methods? Using highly imaginative but plausible sci-fi metaphors to tackle heavy social issues, all with a remarkably diverse crew. The solution? Completely redefining television and inspiring real-world innovation. Applying this structure can take a complex historical challenge and turn it into an incredibly compelling narrative arc.
So here's the absolute most crucial takeaway from our toolbox today. Think about the very next email, proposal, or report you have to write. Are you just dumping dry data, or are you carefully building an experience for your reader? By leveraging the structures we just covered, classifications, point-by-point comparisons, chronological blueprints, and those persuasive appeals, you can transform raw facts into compelling, persuasive narratives that actually capture attention and drive real action. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to grab these tools and put them to work today.